Well, speaking of Four Nations talk, we covered the pre-trade deadline, Four Nations deadline, but now we're in the Four Nations. It starts Wednesday. Rosters are out. Crosby's in. Quinn Hughes not in. It's a very interesting tournament because it's supposed to be a best on best, but it's four countries. Like I think if you have like a Team Europe or something, and maybe I don't know, like maybe five, six teams in there,
I
maybe
like
it
the
would have.
year the World Cup of hockey where they had like the North American team and they had all the young kids playing
Yeah,
on one team. Like I like that idea, but obviously this being the first year, it's obviously a test trial, and who knows what happens a couple of years from now, whatever, as this goes on.
the one thing that interested me the most, though, Chris, is the point system they are using.
Hmm.
And I wonder if it's a test run for maybe flipping the NHL standings to that point system.
I could see that.
Yeah.
It is
Like
an NHL sanctioned event, so
that that's exactly why I bring that up. NHL sanctioned, it gives the players a bit of a feel of what a 3-2-1 system would look like and how it would feel, but in a tournament setting. So it'll be interesting from that perspective. But with the lines that have come out, with kind of the lines that have come out, it's like you got John Cooper who doesn't want to name his number one goaltender yet, and like other teams have like Connor Hellebuck, Swayman, Ottinger, whereas Canada's they're beating the drum on who's gonna represent us in net.
them
So,
and Sweden are my big two question marks as far as goaltenders. I
well,
mean,
Sweden had Markstrom and then he got hurt.
right, and now it's up to. I mean, realistically, I see it as Gustafsson or Olmark, and which one do you start? To me, they're the scariest team in this thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I like everybody knows U.S. and Canada are the two favorites, and I forget what the odds are exactly on DraftKings right now. I thought when I looked earlier, U.S. was plus 100 to win, and Canada was plus 300. But Sweden, to me, they're a team that could make a run in this tournament, and but it's going to come down to they could make a mistake on the goaltending. Where I think from what it sounds like right now, from what I've read, Gustafson's the starter. With I wonder though, is that having anything to do with Olmark's injury that we had talked about a while back, where they're not making him the starter for that reason? I'm also interested to see how they do this with three goalies. Like, do they use one goalie per game with 3 games before the finals, or is it the same goalie for all 3 games? Or I'm interested to
I
see what they do.
I think that depends on performance though, because if the U.S. gets blown up with Wayman in net, they're obviously going to pivot to Ottinger or Hellebuck.
I think Hellebuck's the starter for the U.S.
Oh, definitely. But you understand why I'm saying,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And with the with the way that the Four Nations has, I think they could have had maybe it's a round robin, and then one seed plays four, two plays three, and then
The
kind of like
finals.
a short little playoff thing
Yep.
because they've already had a hard enough time, or they, as in the NHL, has had a hard enough time moving tickets. And if you look at the ticket prices for it, that's also another massive factor. Now, just you have to wonder this one thing: do you go from this tournament and keep it as is, even after the trial run, or do you expand it in some capacity? Because the
Mm.
NHL, yes, they have a lot of their superstars in there, but there's also a lot of really good players from other countries left out. And that's why I think you like not having a team Europe kind of defeated the whole Four Nations thing because Leon Draisaitl not being in the tournament,
Ovechkin,
the whole Russian conversation, and people are opinionated on that. I know that, but not having these big marketed guys in your league come into the tournament that the NHL wants to push. I don't know. I feel like it was very limited. Like you could have done a Team Europe, Team North America kind of deal. But then again, you would get a very loaded Canada or very loaded North American roster.
Mm.
But I think that ultimately comes down to the trial run that we talked about. So, like, do you have any more thoughts on that, Chris?
No, I'm just excited to see it.
Okay.
The tough part, I think, is the scheduling. Because to me, I love the fact that you're looking at Wednesday is Canada, Sweden. Then you have Thursday is USA, Finland. But then you get into Saturday, which weekend day, totally fine with that, where it's 1 o'clock and 8 o'clock for the next games. But then you go into Monday, which is President's Day, and it's 1 o'clock and 8 o'clock again. I think you could have done Monday, Tuesday, both at 8 o'clock, and then had the finals on Thursday. And then you're getting more viewers because some people still have to work on Monday and they're not going to see the 1 o'clock game. And that can hurt. That obviously, I believe on Monday it shifts to Boston. So now you're coming to, the U.S. side of the tournament, and it's a holiday for some people, but not for others. And so now you're cutting into people going to the game.
Yeah, but this has been a thing forever. Like people would have planned around it already.
That's true. That is true.
So
I don't know. For my aspect, though, it's gonna stink to not watch it at work.
Yeah, as I think we'll leave it there. Is we'll have more Four Nations and obviously more trade stuff to talk about next week. But
Yep.
I think that's where we're going to leave it.